At the Game Awards, the night ended not with a bang, but with a whimper. What many are calling one of the most underwhelming final reveals in the show's history is Highguard, a free-to-play PvP hero shooter. That doesn't sound familiar at all. And again, this wasn't just another multiplayer game reveal. This was the final announcement. It's supposed to be the biggest announcement of the night. Instead, it reinforced an unfortunate pattern that is oh so prevalent in the games industry. AAA studios and publishers are once again chasing trends far too late. And why does Highguard not have everyone excited? Well, it's because the genre has gotten old. Once upon a time, hero shooters did dominate gaming. Overwatch popularized the genre, bringing character roles and unique abilities into a competitive shooter that captivated players. But the success of Overwatch spawned far too many clones, and most of them never had a chance of success. Battleborn, Lawbreakers, Crucible, Bleeding Edge, Hyperscape, X-Defiant, and of course Concord, the most spectacular failure of them all. And all of those games failed to realize one thing: players who enjoy hero shooters are already playing one, and good ones at that. Overwatch 2, Apex Legends, Valorant, Marvel Rivals, they all have entrenched player bases and dedicated communities, and all of those games have their own unique quirks and identity that attracts and keeps those players. And first impression surrounding Highguard is that it's generic and bland looking, and it's already going up against the juggernauts of the hero shooter genre. Even if it's free to play and polished, that alone is not going to compel players to jump ship from what they already love. And even outside the greater hero shooter genre, the fate of Highguard is tethered to the broader track record of live service games, a market where a lot of games tend to, die. There's Marvel's Avengers, and this came out shortly after when the MCU peaked with Endgame, and it just wasn't a good game. It had a bad launch and ultimately failed to attract or keep player interest. Conversely, DC's game, Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League, failed massively, even worse than Marvel's Avengers. This game had just an extremely poor content rollout, both in quality and quantity. This game didn't even last a year. It was a huge bomb for Warner Bros. Anthem, Babylon's Fall, Rumbleverse, Steel Hunters, Multiverses. There is an actual graveyard for failed live services. But who gets the mausoleum? Concord, a hero shooter that launched last year. When Concord was announced, people just rolled their eyes at the trailer. The hero shooter space was already dominated by games such as Overwatch 2, Valorant, and Apex Legends, and Concord brought nothing new to the table. In fact, it was as generic and safe and as uninspired as a hero shooter can get. And to top it all off, Concord wasn't even free like every other hero shooter on the market. It costed $40. Concord failed to get people to even try out its game. Its free open beta was around 2,388 players. That speaks to just how little interest there even was in Concord. But its launch day was truly pitiful, 697 players. This was a dead-on-arrival live service hero shooter. And again, this was last year. Now of course, Highguard is going to be free, and that's the biggest difference between it and Concord. But Highguard has that same level of just complete disinterest from players, because the game's genre is oversaturated, the game looks generic, and no one is also asking for this game. No one's going, oh man, I love Overwatch 2, Marvel Rivals, Apex Legends, and Valorant, but I wish there was another game just like them that I can play too. Because again, if someone likes hero shooters, then they are already playing one of those games. And maybe Team Fortress 2. For a new game in the hero shooter genre to succeed, it would need something amazing, a truly fresh core mechanic, or a unique identity that reshapes player expectations, or a compelling single-player or story experience. Remember Overwatch 2's PvE and story missions that were a big hook for the game that ended up getting cancelled and people were very disappointed by? That sounds like a space that hasn't been occupied yet. But Highguard, as it is right now, is a game that looks like every other hero shooter on the market, but repainted and repackaged. Highguard is the knockoff, not the upgrade. Unfortunately for Highguard, the bar has just been set very high for hero shooters, with games such as Marvel Rivals or Overwatch 2 out there. Any new entrance into the space faces a harsh reality. It isn't enough to copy the formula. Players have enjoyed what has been considered the best of hero shooters for years. They know what a good game in this genre looks and feels like. A game that feels derivative or lacks identity will struggle to attract attention, let alone retain players. Highguard at first glance just doesn't appear to raise the bar. While being free to play is good, and the standard for this genre, it won't offset the fact that these established titles already deliver what players want. For a new hero shooter to succeed, it must either redefine player expectations or offer something that the juggernauts of this genre have not, and that's a tall order. Highguard isn't just entering a crowded genre, it's stepping into a graveyard littered with failed games where player expectations are higher than ever and the market is incredibly unforgiving. It's facing entrenched juggernauts like Overwatch 2 and Marvel Rivals, games that have already defined what a successful hero shooter looks like. Being free to play and polished is just not enough when the core gameplay lacks innovation and the identity feels generic. Without something truly groundbreaking or unique in this space, Highguard is likely headed toward the same fate as most games in this genre, forgotten in the sea of failed live service hero shooters. Or worse, in infamy like Concord. But I would love to hear what you guys think in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. If you learned anything, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.